Hello Internet! And today we're finally greeted with the newest endgame mode named Apocalyptic Shadow. You can obtain 800 stellar jades by full starring them, and I'm here to show you how. Firstly though, a disclaimer. This mode is an endgame mode that requires decent investment. Not quite like Golden Gear where you get to choose it with blessings. That means if you truly can't even get close to beating it, you should consider progressing your account more first. But anyways, let's start. I'll be showing you the setups I've used that only require one limited character on both teams. It is damn near impossible to just beat them with free characters. But let's first understand how this mode works. To start with the conclusion, this is a different kind of pure fiction. You are given a general buff similar to pure fiction as well, and this time we're able to recover skill points and ult if we weakness break the boss. On top of that are the break and super break damage buffs. This means that weakness break teams have a way easier time in this mode, making someone like Ranmei or Firefly very valuable. Genius marketing by Hoyo again because they're on the banner right now. However, considering not everyone has them, so the team that I'll show you later won't involve break effect related mechanics. In any case, let's move on. Upon entering, you are greeted with an introduction of the bosses where they show you the boss's traits, or simply put, mechanics. I suggest reading them through, but I'm here to not waste your time. Here's the TLDR. This trait says if you don't break the boss, they take very low damage, but if you do break them, they take a lot more damage. The rest of the traits here are just about how she'll summon her mobs like Japard, among annoying stuff like damage reduction. I'll break down all of these in the fight later. And on this screen, the final thing to take note are the Axioms. These are similar to pure fiction where you get to pick one of 3 buffs to help your team. You want to use these buffs alongside the general buff earlier to your team's advantage. In this mode, there's a total of 4 difficulties, and in each of them, there are 2 nodes in total. Each node features one boss that has 2 phases each. You have to defeat the bosses completely as fast as possible to get 3 full stars. On top of that, you have to be able to do it as fast as you can since you are timed to be at a remaining action value here. This will deplete as the action bar goes by, signaling how long you have left to beat the stage. The faster you beat it, the more action value you have, which ultimately gets converted into your score. You need a total of 6.6k points to get 3 stars per difficulty. And that is pretty much a summary of the whole Apocalyptic Shadow. And here's why the mode is very challenging, and it could be considered the hardest endgame mode at the moment. At difficulty 4, the bosses have very good stats on their own, where you'd find them being quite speedy on top of doing a lot of damage. Coming unprepared and you face the wrath of a single mother that died. And enough clowning on Bronya's mother. I'll now explain the teams and how to beat the stages. For people that don't own Ranmei and the like and don't own just all the 5 stars in the game, these are the alternative teams that I've came across and tested to clear Apocalyptic Shadow. They are not completely free though. I haven't found a way to beat them completely with just free characters, but I've kept them as accessible as possible. Most of them will be 4 stars. References are in the description. Firstly, we have Cocolia. The team to beat this will be Acheron, Pella, Gallagher, and Sampo. You can swap everyone except Acheron for their 5-star equivalents, or in Sampo's case, you just need someone that has Cocolia's weakness. If you don't have Acheron though, you'll require a totally different setup with say a Jingyuan team or a Kafka team. But it all depends on what you got. I can't cover all of them. For this team, we'll be using the Axiom that gives you all damage increase buff for the team. And the grand plan here is to break everyone's weakness and kill everything with Acheron. Very original. You'll start with Sampo's and Acheron's technique. If Acheron's Crimson Knot does not land on Cocolia, restart the fight. Now moving into this phase, it features Cocolia and Japard, along with 2 ice pillars as well. Long story short, you have to kill the ice pillars to put their weakness back on Cocolia. And more on Japard later though, you kinda should just ignore him. Firstly, make sure to have enough energy for Pella's ulti. Use your skill if you have to, which is what I did here. Then use Acheron's skill into ulti and dunk everything into Cocolia. Since Acheron ignores weakness, you'll get some toughness off of the boss. On top of that, with Pella's debuff and the ult damage buff that we chose, you very much should be able to kill the ice pillars or get very close to. After that, do everything in your power to break Cocolia. Consider you should pretty much take no damage unless you break her, and hence why Gallagher is very good here. He can do a basic into an ultimate back into an enhanced basic instantly, which shreds the toughness bar very quickly. And upon breaking them, this version's Apocalyptic Shadow buff allows you to regenerate all skill points and ultimate. And since they're broken, they'll take a lot more damage based on their trait. With that said, damage away. Use every debuff you can before Acheron's ulti. Just make sure you don't overcap her Crimson Knot by more than 3 stacks. If you don't know, she can hold 3 surplus Crimson Knots and use them after her ulti. If you've done everything correctly, you should be doing great damage, but now Japard here will take his turn. And what he'll do is he'll protect Cocolia with his shield here. While being protected by this shield, none of them will take any damage, so you have to destroy it. And there's only 2 ways to do so. You can either weakness break Japard or deplete the whole shield with pure damage. We will be going for the damage option. But yeah, speaking of which, had you not break Cocolia, you'll now be dealing with a Cocolia that does her ulti while being shielded, and there's nothing you can do. But from here on, you just have to do the same thing. Still ignore Japard and keep keep pummeling the single dead mob until Acheron gets her ultimate. Use her ultimate on Cocolia since she takes more damage while being broken. And if you do that, you'll do enough damage to break the whole shield. And once you do that, rack up Acheron's ulti again. They will likely recover and do the same exact thing as the start, which you just have to do the same thing as well, beating down single mobs that died. And with the final break here, Acheron was able to get fairly close to killing him. And this is where the RNG factor comes in. If you rely on crit DPS like say Acheron, whether or not you achieve the results you want will be based off of whether or not you crit. But sadly, I missed a few crits here. And that is one of the reasons why I lost a lot of action value right now. But with the final bits of attack, we defeat the first phase. The second phase, we start with Cocolia summoning 4 ice pillars this time. Long story short, kill them to put the weakness back on Cocolia. And that's exactly what you'll do. Start with Pella's ulti when the pillars are spawned in, and when you're free to Acheron ult, just do it right away. You should be able to kill them all if you don't miss too many crits or have a good Acheron, unlike mine, huh? After that, break Cocolia as soon as possible and ult with Acheron as soon as you can. Feel free to use your skill points as you need. If you can say break Cocolia with sample skill, go ahead and use that. You'll regain all skill points and ults anyway as long as you break the boss. If you don't break her in time though, however, the boss will nuke you with an AoE ultimate constantly. It's not a one shot, but it's best if you just can't end her before needing to deal with that. And with that, I finished the clear with a score of 3,144, which isn't quite enough since you need 3.3k per side to get the 3rd star. But as I mentioned earlier, I could have gotten it had I crit more of Acheron, or maybe if I had a better sample, or I could just use a 5-star Black Swan instead. Yeah, not everyone has her, so no. This team only takes 1 Acheron as a limited banner character, so yeah. It will include a bit of RNG, and there are a lot of nuances like whether or not you crit, whether or not your stats are good enough. But I've shown you all my stats earlier. I'm going to show you again like at the end of the video though. The better your stats are than mine, the better your RNG gets. Conversely, the worse your stats are as compared to mine, the more bullshit you have to probably deal with. But anyways, moving on, we have Node 2, which features Argenti. His main shtick is still the same, taking very low damage if not broken, but takes way more damage if he is broken. So the name of the game is still breaking Argenti. However, since not everyone can just pull up with a Ranmei, I've devised myself this team right here. It features Topaz, Dr. Ratio, Tingyun, and Lynx. I've been testing for hours and I can't really figure out a completely free team that can beat this yet, but come on, you gotta have some 5-stars, right? I've deduced that if you're a Dr. Ratio main, chances are you have a Topaz, so hence we have this team. Again though, there are other teams that can beat this. It all depends on what you have, but I can't fit all of them into one video, right? Anyways, with this team, we'll be using the follow-up attack buff here. It basically does extra damage the more follow-up attack damage you deal. And here's how it plays. Use everyone's technique and hit the boss with any weakness. Start with spamming Tingyun's ultimate as usual for Dr. Ratio. Argenti here will spawn 4 mobs, and the gist of things is that if he can break 1 sword, he'll regain all his weakness. If you don't break the sword, he'll have no weakness and all of them will attack you, right? Hence why step 1 would be doing everything in your power to kill 1 sword first, preferably ones with a spotlight on top of them. That gives you buffs if you kill him. Go ahead and dump Ratios all onto the sword and work towards killing it. Topaz here will end the mob with her skill. That unlocks Argenti's weakness. From then on, we'll do everything we can to reduce his toughness bar. Keep in mind to heal with Lynx if ever you're low. Ratio will spam his skill on the boss here. With the help of a speedy Tingyun and dance, Ratio will get his ult back and some turns as well, so put all of them into Argenti, man. You will see that you're doing no damage, but basically you can't really do damage anyway unless you break him. That's why it is such a hard mode unless you have someone like Ranmei or Firefly. However though, by attacking enough times, you'll break him eventually. Be ready to heal with Lynx at any given time if you're low on health, and keep using every skill you can to break Argenti. On his next turn, he'll be immune to weakness again after spawning another sword, so repeat the first step. Kill it with Ratio, recharge him with Tingyun, kill the sword in the end. That'll again unlock the weakness on Argenti. You can keep Numby on Argenti unless you really need to change targets. And at this moment in time, you'll notice that under Argenti's health bar, there is a countdown here. Upon reaching 0, he'll swap his attack patterns, killing all the swords and spawning 4 shields instead. At the same time, the shields will taunt your entire team, and that is ridiculous. If you're able to, you should use Lynx's ultimate here to cleanse the top, but always prioritize survival. I decided to heal with her ult because I was scared, but I probably didn't have to though. However, I did get lucky with 2 resistances, which allows me to continue to focus down on Argenti. But if I did get taunted though, simply kill the shield that taunts Ratio and focus down Argenti again. And thankfully, the shields themselves don't attack you, so focus on Argenti as best as you can. Upon finally breaking him, you'll activate your buffs. The follow-up attack buff that you chose will damage Argenti, which helps you end this phase with 1 break. With a general buff that gives your ultimates, dunk it all down on Argenti. Make sure to hold Ratio's ulti if he already has 2 chalks up though. You should be able to kill him in this 1 break period, and we move on to the second phase. This phase shows 4 mobs and an untargetable Argenti at the back. Long story short, kill the mobs to get to Argenti. If you don't kill them before they take their turn, they will buff Argenti, after which they'll just disappear. From my experience, you have to kill at least one of them or it'll be a team-wide one-shot. So I went ahead and did just that. I killed only one of the mobs and we are barely safe. Thereafter is the taunt phase again with the shields, and this time Ratio was taunted. Go ahead and kill the mob with Ratio and focus down on Argenti again. The taunt will never end unless you kill the mob, or in this case, I have Lynx's ulti which cleanses them. That is why Lynx is pretty good here. And from then on, simply break Argenti. The buff will do a load of damage and you'll finish him right there. You'll notice that I still couldn't get 3.3k points, which is again a factor of missing like 3 crits during the first break period. Like, what was that actually? And I crit again, I probably would have gotten it. However, understand that with the lower budget and considering the buffs are all skewed towards helping break effect, you will have to compensate with better stats or say better luck with crits and such, right? I, who have neither, is a little off the 3-star mark, so yeah, back to grinding for me. But these two teams and plays are certainly good enough for you to get the 3-star. And that is how you can grab those sweet 800 stellar J's. It's not painful at all. I'll be showing you their stats again while yapping about everything though. Note that whatever you see here, you can swap with any alternatives. But note that with alternatives, it might get easier for you if they are like 5 stars, like say Black Swan, or if you decide to swap a Lycone out for a free-to-play one, you might have to deal with a bit more RNG. Overall though, this mode is certainly very difficult unless you own a break team. If you do own a good break team, you can certainly gain say 3.5k points on one side and scuff the other a little bit. I actually think that should actually be the easiest way to get all the J's, but in this video I tried 2 teams that should not be too inaccessible except for the 5-star, which still, come on, you gotta pull for someone, right? You don't just have no 5-stars in your account. In any case though, I think Hoyo did not design his final difficulty to just be beaten easily with only 3 characters, right? So do take note of that. And that will be all for today. I hope I did help you out, and yeah, comment down below how you cleared everything and help each other out actually. If you don't own everything I've shown, hopefully there's a lot more suggestions down there, yeah? And that will be all for today. I need sleep, so take care.